Now, with the recent data released by NDMA, this is just actually the beginning of this month of April, it did indicate that we still have 23 counties still reeling with ravaging effects of drought, looking at 8 in the alarm phase, 11 in the alert, 2 in the emergency drought phase, and 2 in the normal drought phase. Looking at these figures is what informs our discussion in the next 40 minutes, just looking at where we are as a country as far as drought is concerned, centering our focus on Turkana County, looking at food security and water harvesting. For the same, I have created FaceTime with Dr. John Erus, who is the Deputy Governor of Turkana County. Dr. welcome to the program.
Thank you, Doreen.
I just want us to brush this discussion from those figures, looking at what the National Drought Disaster Management released in the beginning of this month of April, looking at all these counties, 8 in alarm, 11 alert, and 2 in the normal drought phase, 2 in emergency drought phase. And actually, we begin from there because your county, as well as Marsabit, have been categorized in the EDP, emergency drought phase. So begin by just telling us what this basically means and how dire is the situation in Turkana.
Well, thank you, Doreen. Before I answer your question, I would like to say that Turkana County in particular is a very unique county.
Okay.
It is the only county that borders 3 international countries. That is Ethiopia, in the entire south, southern Sudan, in the entire southern Sudan, and the entire northeast or eastern Uganda, depending on where you position it. And Turkana County is also a county that is bordering 5 other or 6 other counties.
Yes.
That is Marsabit, Samburu, Baringo, Marakwet, and Pokot.
So indeed a unique county in that regard.
So when you begin looking at food security in Turkana or food security in Turkana, it has to be understood in that context. Meaning there may be some tremendous challenges, but there is also tremendous opportunities for development. So when we are looking at the issue of, Turkana sits right across the Horn of Africa, and we understand the challenges of climate change. We also understand very well in the history of Kenya that these counties, that especially the 2 that you have mentioned, has experienced tremendous neglect. And for some of us who are born and brought up in Turkana, we understand that the first actual initiation of development programs, socio-economic development programs in Turkana, for example, was facilitated by Christian missions, non-party state actors. And so if there is any actual effort, government effort, was actually the devolved system. So if you visit Turkana today, or Marsabit in particular, you realize that the tremendous potential that exists there today, it's actually because of the effort of the devolved system of government. And that is when people started appreciating the existence of government. Otherwise, before that, it was simply just humanitarian support, which was mostly provided by church-based organizations, non-governmental organizations.
So then, good rich history you're telling us, then you're bringing also quite a raft of issues that I'd want us to converse around momentarily, issues of neglect in this county. That's also we've seen the continuous conflict in some of these regions because of basically what you're alluding to. Nonetheless, I still want you to tell me what this emergency drought phase means for this county, and even as you respond to that, just how bad or how dire is the situation in this specific county in terms of food security?
In Turkana in particular, Governor Morkai and myself are looking at the issue of drought in Turkana from 3 perspectives.
Okay.
Number 1, the food basket for Turkana, it used to be Turkana East Sub-County, Turkana South, and a few pockets of Loima and within Takwel, Takwel River. Right now, there is a tremendous potential for us to make sure that those sub-counties become food baskets. One of the issues that may come up is that Turkana East in particular, which used to be food basket, is now one of the sub-counties with the highest cases of malnutrition.
Okay.
And it could be attributable to the fact that people have moved from their initial places because they feel probably they are not secure. And I think we are going to talk about, I don't want to use a specific term of conflict because conflict has a specific definition. But what I'm trying to say that because of feeling of insecurity and fear within those areas, so people have moved to Loriu, they have moved to Lokori, and
so they've moved away from the original food baskets of this area, of this county.
Yeah.
This is part of the reason as to why we are seeing this county in that classification, basically.
Yes, and then you know, of course, we all know that there are few areas within Turkana, not because they cannot be viable for farming. There are many areas in Turkana that has not been water in some of those areas have not been tested its viability for farming. Okay. We also know that most Turkanas are pastoralists. The role of non-governmental organizations and church organizations and with previous county government efforts towards integrating pastoral economy to cash economy that is involving people in business and farming and also utilizing resources from Lake Turkana is something that continues to be enhanced. It is something that resources continue to be put together. And so there is change of attitude towards integrating this economy, and we have a platform where we can actually start implementing some of the priorities that are outlined in our manifesto.
I hear you. So basically you're saying that there's a raft of issues as to why we are seeing this situation. Aside from just moving from the original food basket of the area, there's underutilization of resources. There's some of those areas that could perhaps be good enough for farming. There hasn't been so much work done in those areas. And perhaps you can just tell us, why is that? And the reason why I ask this, Bonadij, is because we look at this ASAL counties, and we have said over time, they're good enough counties for farming. One of the biggest issues that ASAL face is just the issue of water and water scarcity. So when you say that some areas have not been properly utilized as far as farming is concerned, what has hampered this over time? In the 60 years, for instance, that we've been independent as a country, what really has hampered this?
Our priority right now is to look at what kind of infrastructure has been created in Turkana for us to map out and identify significant resources to put into addressing multiple issues. Number one, we have small aquifers in Turkana, then we also have the bigger one, which is the Lotikipi aquifer. Lotikipi aquifer is the one that continues to be studied. We have identified pockets of the aquifer with fresh water. Most of the aquifer, my understanding or the information that we have, has a high level of salinity that it cannot be used for both human and livestock use. We are exploring a possibility of doing desalination. Before Governor Lomorkai and myself were elected to the Turkana County government, there is this false premise that desalination is very expensive We have done an integrated, a showcase, an integrated water desalination system at Lodwar County Referral Hospital.
So are you currently doing this, or this is an idea?
Yes, this is already completed.
Okay.
It's completed, it's working. We are just showcasing that it is possible to address multiple challenges by just one project. So we have an integrated water desalination plant at Lodwar County Referral Hospital that produces 6,000 liters of clean drinking water. And some of that water is going to be packaged and be sold to bring some income to the hospital.
I hear you. So basically, just for clarity purposes, you're saying that that desalination process is already complete?
It's completed.
And there's good enough amount of water for residents there? Yes,
at a cost of... and we are not just desalinating that water from that borehole for drinking. We have actually utilized that water for vertical agriculture to grow vegetables for the patients. And then we have also reused the water to make a big fish pond with the 3,000 fish ready to be consumed by the patients. And then we have actually used that water, the wastewater, to a biodigester.
I hear you. So then help me understand, Deputy Governor, because I'm conflicted. If this are not ideas, they have actually been done, even as you talk about desalination, because over time it has been a conversation that it's expensive, and you have had some quarters saying that it's a bit difficult to do this, but you are saying that that is already done in that specific county. You're even giving us examples of what exactly is being done as far as getting good water, adequate water supply, even in hospitals. So then what is the problem? Why is it food insecure? Why do we still have issues of water scarcity? What is the issue?
Governor Morkai and myself trying to find answers for the same question. As I told you that we have an integrated desalination plant, and actually the desalination plant which was procured from Davis and Shatliff was 1.2 million. So for us, we are excited as the Turkana County government that we can actually do 6 of those in 6 sub-counties. We are also trying to showcase that if we are putting a master plan for food security in Turkana, and we are thinking of utilizing water from those aquifers, that is how we feel it will be cost effective. We can have a bigger desalination plant of maybe 2.4 million or maybe 6 million. And if we put one per sub-county, and we can talk to Kenyans of goodwill, and each sponsor one of those, or we talk to our development partners. By the way, our philosophy is that if we do serious effort to address the water problems, it deals directly, it solves the problem of food insecurity, it deals with the problem of, addresses the issue of livelihoods, and once those are sorted out, then there's going to be peace, and then once there is peace, we can develop infrastructure, and then from there, and then we can create wealth. And Turkana can be one of those counties that will sit back in 10, 15, 20 years and feel proud that at least there is a leader.
More consolidated efforts in regards to this?
Yes, we are pursuing a multi-sectoral approach by utilizing every opportunity that exists, including the efforts of the national government, specifically to address the issue of food security.
Now, since we are still on that water issue, maybe we can just stick with that for a moment and also talk to me about the 76 drilled boreholes by UNICEF to see how best this can alleviate the problem in this specific county. The last time I checked, they were yet to hand over this to the county. Perhaps you can confirm to us if this has already happened, and if so, to what extent are this 76 boreholes assisting with this issue of water and food security altogether in Turkana?
Yes, I can confirm that UNICEF has handed over 76 boreholes. Some of them were new ones, about 25 or 26 were new. Others who are being rehabilitated. Those boreholes have been handed over. Last week, on Tuesday, UNICEF and team of development partners and three governors from Samburu, Baringo, and West Pokot were in Turkana to showcase some of these projects. The water need in Turkana is enormous. First of all, we have between 40 to 50,000 Turkana pastoralists who are either in Uganda, mostly within the borders of Uganda and partly southern Sudan. And they have been moved there. They have moved there purposely because they cannot have enough water for their pasture. Number two, Turkana is 77,000 square kilometers, meaning the area is vast. And then the water tables, as I understand from geologists, they can only drill up to 100 meters. We're exploring a possibility of what it takes to drill beyond the 200 meters. Because if other countries can drill and be able to extract groundwater, and I think that is something that has not been exploited, but World Bank has a grant for 5 counties, including Turkana.
Is it just because of the meters itself, or there's something deeper than that, that this is why it hasn't been exploited? Because you've said the biggest issues in this counties, the land is good, arable land even for crop production, but the issue is water. That's why you're speaking of desalination, 76 boreholes, looking at the water table and how to dig that deep. So is it a meters issue, or there's something beyond that?
We are challenging our geologists that if other countries or if other places can be able to drill deeper than 200 meters. The question that I haven't been answered is it because of the equipment? Is it because of the training? Is it because that is where we as a country are capped our drilling? Governor Morkai and myself believe that we need to drill deeper, and I think when the president came to Turkana to talk about national drought response, he talked about a possibility of drilling deeper than 200 meters, and I really support him, because unless we go deeper, we may not be able to understand. So right now, we have a grant from World Bank for groundwater survey that is currently going on. We are yet to find out, to see what they will find out. Number two, we already have existing aquifers. The Napu aquifer in Lodwar sits on a very fragile ecosystem. So meaning that when we are developing that aquifer for farming within Lodwar, that we also have to protect it because of its fragility. We also want to make sure that it is not going to be contaminated. And so doing kind of an integrated desalination becomes viable for us. So we want to look at if there are institutions, there are like 4 or 5 or 6, that we can do an integrated desalination plant like the one we did at Lodwar County Referral Hospital. By the way, there are 3, 2 in Kakuma and then one in Lodwar.
At the referral hospital?
1 at the referral hospital and 2 within the host community and the refugees, and the one which is also benefiting the community is the one that is going to run will be available at Beshara Uduma Center that will be launching May 3rd.
Okay.
So those are 3 projects that we are showing case that it is possible to solve water problems in that area. And then there is the issue of the flood water. If we do a 600 million dam, like the one in Uganda, the Uganda built one in a place called Kobebe. That's where most of our pastoralists are right now. And they were able to do it for 200 million. If we do a 600 million dam, that governor is currently thinking, we can do one right at the intersection between the border of Ethiopia, South Ethiopia, and Southern Sudan, and then Kenya. Then can take care of all our cows, the Nyamatom cows from Ethiopia, and then the Toposa. Then we can do one right at the intersection of the Turkana, Southern Sudan, to the border of Uganda. So if we do those two, and then we do one right between the Samburu, Baringo, West Pokot, and Turkana. Those are 4 big mega dams that will withstand the 4-5 seasons if it doesn't rain, because of the water runoff in that area. It's the volume of water is able to sustain. The challenge with our pastoralists within that region is purely because they have some grass. It may not be enough.
Just before you get to the challenge with the pastoralists, there, let me backtrace a bit. And you are saying that if we do this dam at the center, somewhere in between Samburu, and you mentioned the other county, give an example of what Uganda has done, the 200 million that they used for their dam in their country. You are saying if we do, and you did say that the governor is thinking about this. And I want to just get from you, is this still a thought? Are there plans to implement? Because oftentimes we keep saying that we're never short of policies, we're never short of ideas like the ones you're proposing, but the challenge always lies with the implementation. So then at what point do we begin from? That is always the challenge. So is this still a thought? Are there plans to begin works on it? And if there are, when? Because the residents in Turkana want this to be working for them. They want this water. This is one of the issues they're dealing with as residents in that county. Are there plans to start this, aside from just thinking about it?
Yes.
When?
Next budgetary cycle, 600 million has already been put to start.
For this specific work?
Yes.
Okay.
We are currently doing one integrated water desalination plant in Turkana East. So we have...
The food basket of the area,
yes,
of the county.
Water kiosk is going to provide the technical capacity. And then we have one of our partners that is going to do the system. And we are hoping that that is going to serve 6 schools in the area, 1 TVET, and all the installations within the area. And it has to be put in one of the institutions for management.
Okay.
So that is underway, and the procurement process has already started.
Okay.
So
you're saying this is 600 million set aside for one of those mega dams?
Yes.
In the county?
Yes.
The next budgetary allocation?
Yeah.
We hold you account to that?
Yes. You will come to Turkana and you say,
yes,
we are serious. We want to do something. We want to demonstrate to the Kenyans that if we come and appeal for them for support, it is resources that is going to change the lives of the people.
I hear you.
Yeah.
All right. Also, talk to me about this livestock offtake program as we get now to issues of food security. Because there was a time, if my memory serves me correct, around January or February, when the Deputy President did talk about this program, especially in these counties that had been so far hit by drought, looking at this livestock offtake program so that then we don't have numerous people dying as a result of drought and also livestock at the same time. Just help us understand if this program kicked off, and if it did, to what end has it reached and how has it helped the situation in this county particularly?
Livestock offtake shouldn't be seen as a solution. It is one of the mitigating measures. It is one way of building resilience around how do you protect livestock. Yes, livestock offtake, as you know, did start.
So it kicked off?
Yes, it kicked off. Some pastoralists have already registered. The challenge with livestock offtake is because during drought, over 90% of livestock in Turkana go across the border. And so there is also tremendous challenges for NDMA and Kenya Red Cross and those institutions that are required to implement that. So the slow nature, the terrain, and that is why we are currently encouraging our pastoralists to begin moving back, but they cannot move back from where they are because there is no assured water sources. Governor and I are mobilizing resources. I had a meeting with development partners 10 days ago, and they were trying to tell me what is the cost, how many do you need. So we need 25, and one is costing about 65,000 euros. So and the reason why we are doing this, it's because you heard in the news recently that Ugandan defense forces rounded up Turkana kraals and arrested about 32 herders and court-martialed them in Uganda, and each one of them is jailed for 20 years. It is one of the reasons why we feel this is urgent. We have to bring pastoralists back. We don't want them to be harassed and arrested in another country or a friendlier country, an East African community country where integration and assurance of protection for all those citizens need to be upheld. And so this is urgent. We have about 45 to 50,000 pastoralists who need water. We are happy that it rained recently, so pasture is there. We need to do 1 or 2 or 3 of those so that we can start moving them slowly so that they can come back to Kenya.
Okay. And I really want us to take a quick break. We come back and we look at the children now. We're looking at slightly above 200,000 children in this county suffering from malnutrition. Is there a specific program in this specific county as far as this was concerned? And to what end is it affecting learning in this institution? Also, what long-term solutions can we get? Because according to NDMA, we're looking at about 4.8 million Kenyans, again, in these areas who are dealing with issues of food insecurity. So we look at that as well as long-term solutions after this breather. Okay. So as you mull over that, we take that breather, we circle back with plenty of this discussion, so don't go anywhere. Exactly 5 minutes past the top of the hour. We definitely appreciate your valid company, and we continue your pace with our conversation looking at food security and water harvesting in ASAL areas, and we center our focus in Turkana County. I am still holding court with Dr. John Erus, who is the Deputy Governor, Turkana County. Now, DG, before we go to the issues of children, malnutrition, and the kind of special program you have for maybe this specific set, let us just look at delayed disbursement, because from what you told us earlier before the break, we're looking at quite a lot of projects that you're thinking about, some that have already begun, even looking at the desalination in the different other areas that you want to do this, and and also the dams, as you did tell us. But then you're looking at delayed disbursement in the counties. The last one being in December of last year. So you're looking at 4 months since January for when disbursement hasn't taken place. And just going by what the COG chair, who also doubles up at the Kirinyaga County Governor, did say, Anwe Guru, is that 125 billion is what the Treasury owes to county governments. So when you look at some of these issues and the kind of projects that you're planning to do as a county, to what end does this act as a stumbling block to the projects you want to do for the people of Turkana? And how are you working around it?
My response will be slightly different from the public discourse. I'm looking at it Governor and I are looking at it from two perspectives. One perspective is that the national government response to drought mitigation in Turkana and looking at a long-term solution has been that one which appears to be supportive of the efforts that we are putting in place, has a framework for us to move the Turkana County forward, and that is asking for 1 million acres of land to grow food. We assured the President that the 1 million acres of land is available, and it is available anytime. The community has given that land. Number two, we know that there's been transition of both national government and county governments. And priorities of every government or every institution is to put systems in place that ensures there is a flow or adequate resources and flow of money or some stuff like that. And this takes time. There is a break in during politics. Revenue collection also, there is a break in of us being sworn in. Even our own source revenue experiences the same challenges. The President has assured the nation and the county governments that they will disburse the money.
Did they give timelines to this? Given it's been 4 months since the last disbursement.
What I want to say is that the challenge is where it is going to be reported that Turkana County has not utilized the resources that has been allocated to them. While we understand that the challenges of disbursements are there, it is recognized. What is Governor Lumurkaya and I doing in Turkana? We are looking at that as an opportunity to look for other resources to supplement the effort of the national government.
Through the on-source revenue or partners?
We go to partners. I'm in charge of, one of my responsibilities as the Deputy Governor is to resource mobilize and to look for ways in which we can make Turkana have substantial amount of resources, either through taxes or other revenue streams, that is likely to make Turkana a place where the money that comes from the national government supplements what we already are doing. Right now, we are lucky to continue implementing programs co-funded by both national government and county government and development partners and in key sectors.
I hear you.
But that is a challenge that we see. It is an opportunity for both national, county governments and other development actors to support so that delayed disbursements are reduced.
Okay, I hear you. It looks like this delayed disbursement has been a perennial challenge, and basically this third dispensation of county governments is suffering, this a lot. Now that you're saying that one of the key functions as DG is resource mobilization, so do you think that perhaps we need to move away from having to remit the monies collected in the counties with the CRA in the central bank and use it at own source, because that has also been a challenge in the counties, that then we don't use this money at own source. So you collect it as a county, but then they have to be deposited in the central bank, the county revenue allocation. Then again, you have to request for it before it's given back to you. Do you think cutting that would at least reduce some of these issues that county faces as far as allocations of monies is concerned?
Discussions has happened at different levels of key government institutions, including the Office of the President and the COG, and those discussions are ongoing.
They're still underway?
Yes, a few propositions have been agreed upon, and I think we are confident with the assurances of the President and the Deputy President that if the intention and our expectation has agreed in different consultative forums, including the summit, then we are seeing a possibility of those issues being addressed in the near future. For now, we are confident as Turkana County that we continue to offer the services to the Turkana people, doing everything that we need to do so that we are not stuck because there is delayed disbursement.
Okay, I hear you. And even as you say that, there has also been a latest proposal by the Majority Leader of National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, to have KRA being the overall collector, even in the counties. But I wouldn't really get into that because it's a different conversation altogether. Nonetheless, still looking at that question of food security, and yes, you're saying that as a county, we are doing the very much you can, much as there's been delayed disbursement, and you know fully well that this could hamper some of your efforts that you're doing as a county, but you're trying the much you can as a county to see how best you can assist the vulnerable communities within that specific county. And even when we speak of vulnerables, we know that there's children, there are women, and looking at these issues of food security, good number of them suffer malnutrition. We did say about 200,000 or even more than that in collective all these counties. What are you doing as a county? Are there special feeding programs for these children? And if they are, how are you going about it to assist these children that are suffering a lot from this insecurity, food insecurity?
Our disaster management, the CAC for disaster management and the entire directorate have adequate food supplies for now, for the next 2 months, to ensure that fortified porridge is available for all ECD centers. The national government, through Ministry of Education, is providing still school feeding program to primary schools. We also, in Turkana County, have approached individuals. Western Gishu County, for example, gave us supplies of food from the farmers in Western Gishu and business people. Governor has had some travels, made some philanthropies who have also provided us food. We have an integrated kind of program right now which utilizes both food supplies and also cash transfer. World Food Program is providing some kind of support for that. USAID, Nawiri, Polish Humanitarian Action, and they are targeting different sub-counties. And so we have a mix of interventions that goes towards ensuring that schools are not disrupted. We are also encouraging primary schools, even though because of the challenges, again, the devolved system, ECD was devolved. We are still struggling with the specific definition on on whether it is a development program or whether it can be development, current expenditure, and all those kind of things. But those are issues that are being discussed at different stages.
Okay.
Also because there is really no specific adequate funding for ECD. So this is just, we have development partners. We are doing the integrated system where we are addressing the issue of malnutrition specifically to hospitals within Turkana, and that's why we are moving towards ensuring that we have those integrated programs within the schools. So right now, JICA is also implementing what they call agriculture homework, agriculture for homework. Which is a concept of kitchen garden, and it's doing so well right now as a way to address that. And
issues of malnutrition.
Yes, and also it's also for me it stands out as a very clear, simple way of encouraging people to grow vegetables and to utilize vegetables. But one segment I wanted to say is that when we are talking about food security, food insecurity in Turkana, for example, I have launched 5 micro irrigation schemes since we were sworn in to the county government. What I observed was that most of the people who actually in those who own those micro irrigation schemes or who are involved in agriculture, their older population. And my message has been to go around, talk to young people, say, we need to change our attitude. We have digital agriculture, and as we speak, we have 12 young people who have been trained in Israel, who are now in Turkana, and they are like 11 or 12 others right now in Arava, and we will be recruiting a few of them as a way of ensuring that when they come back, they can help other young people to do farming.
So basically what you're saying is that there are really quite a number of interventions here and there to deal with the issues of food insecurity in that county.
Yes.
I hear you, DG, and thank you so much for your time and for your valuable inputs into this conversation. At least now you can confirm for our own consumption.
Sure.
Thank you very much, DG. That is Dr. John Erus, who is the Deputy Governor, Turkana County, and what has formed center of discussion for the past 50 minutes or so is just looking at food security and water harvesting within the county, what interventions have been made, the loopholes, and how to seal them. Good place to end this conversation, but we still have one more coming away after this breather. We look at online sexual exploitation. Stick around for that, coming away after this break.